And the Dallas Cowboys playoff hopes ends with an onsides kick, losing to the terrible quarterback of J.J. McCarthy. That's what they said. There was lots of things that were said throughout the course of this season. I remember not too long ago I was told that the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys are the two most dangerous teams in the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs are still going to win the AFC, and that the Dallas Cowboys are going to just run right through the NFC, that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to lose, and the Cowboys are going to get in there and win the NFC East. My friends, my family, my haters, my lovers, I don't think that's going to happen. J.J. McCarthy, man, this was his game. This was his day. Dak getting a little bit of good old-fashioned garbage stats, like he loves to do. But we'll focus on J.J. McCarthy now. 15 for 24, 250 yards, 10.4 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns. Should have been 3 if Justin Jefferson could catch the ball. He's got no one to blame but himself there. The one interception was kind of crazy to start the game off, but a 108 passer rating. Yeah, man, I mean, obviously at this point with JJ, even Collinsworth talked about it. It's like you're not really here to kind of figure out the nitty-gritty of this Vikings team. You're trying to figure out, like, who the heck is JJ McCarthy? JJ McCarthy looked great today, and he really did. He was making some big-time throws. He was decisive. He knew where he wanted to go with the ball. And Collinsworth also point out they were just like, we're just doing pure progressions. Pure progression. Just go through your reads. When you see it, trust it. Let it rip. It's exactly what Kevin Unnell did with Sam Darnold. And it's not a bad way to play football. I mean, really, there's two people that I heard that really don't like pure progressions. Kurt Warner and Tom Brady. And I think it's a little bit easier for those quarterbacks to make those type statements considering the successes that they've had. But you could see JJ just playing with a lot more composure, a lot more groundedness. The one thing I didn't like was him dancing into the end zone. Uh, he obviously had 3 total touchdowns. It was a great play call, but like, my man, you have not been playing good enough. Your team is not good enough. Your career at this point is hanging on by a thread. Again, Collinsworth was money with the commentary. He was like, listen, we got to see who this guy is, because if you're not doing good, we're probably going to go out and get a quarterback. We're going to have to go pay for a quarterback, and you're like dancing into the end zone. It's like, no, 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 no. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's just not my thing. That's very much my flavor with the hat forward versus hat backwards with Colin. But Jordan Addison coming up with some nice catches. Jalen Naylor obviously working well with JJ. Couldn't get the run game going too much, which was actually more impressive why they were able to get everything going with JJ McCarthy. Um, and the Cowboys, like, snorts. This is a bad loss. We can point out all these other various things, but like you told me that this defense is completely upgraded now. Told me that this offense is just unstoppable. And I mean, they ran for 138 yards. The run game was working great. 4.8 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns, 138 rushing yards. And it's just like, I mean, Dak played well too. Dak didn't play bad by no means. I think this is where passer ratings can get a little misleading, especially when you don't throw touchdowns. But Dak made some really nice throws, and I think he did a good job of He made a few throws that were kind of like, am I gonna scramble? Am I not? Kind of baiting the defense, just kind of get caught in those in between moments that can be so dangerous, so deadly. I think he did a good job with that. It's just the Minnesota Vikings were just better. I mean that, when you see a game like this where there's nothing like truly wrong, obviously he had some missed field goals and stuff. But the one was a deep shot. I mean, I know he can hit them, but like it's like a logo 3 at this point. Like just because you can hit it doesn't mean that you're always going to hit it. But the one was obviously a bad miss. But I mean, there was nothing There was nothing like glaring here for the Cowboys either. It's not like there was anything devastating, but both teams were just like, hey, we don't really like to convert third downs. But hey, we love to go for on fourth downs and convert them. Like it was just this was a weird game. The Cowboys 25 first downs, Vikings 21. It's just at the end of the day, the Vikings were able to execute. They were able to convert in the red zone. They were 3 for 4, whereas the Cowboys were 2 for 5. And that's almost always what it comes down to, man. Colin always talks about like third downs, and lots of people talk about third downs, but I really I'll often reference that um in my in my notes as well, when I'm doing post game clips and stuff, and you know you could have a takeaway here where you say, man, you couldn't convert, right, Cowboys? You were 2 for 12. That's just not good enough. You got to convert. You got to convert. And there's nothing necessarily inherently wrong with that, but it's the 2 for 5. Like that was the problem in this game. That's where you ran into trouble. And again, the Vikings were able to convert, and sometimes it can really be that straightforward. It really can be. It doesn't have to be much more complicated than that. I mean, it's interesting to me that you weren't able to disrupt JJ, and obviously had that interception, but a little fluky. Um, but still an interception. But like you weren't able to disrupt him at all. He was never uncomfortable. He was never sped up. You never force him to make a bad throw. Like there, none of that, none of that, not once. And I find that just kind of like, huh? Like that's weird. Like that's interesting. Um, and the Vikings were able to take advantage of it the full way through. And again, like it's not like Dak did anything poorly, and even some of the big chunk plays were even there to a degree. But they could never really just, once they got inside the red zone, everything kind of started to get like a little congested, and then the plays just weren't there. That's how you end up losing 34-26. I mean, and really, what was the real score? 34-23, right? So really, kind of realistically, losing by 2 scores, and your playoff hopes are still there. The Eagles playing the Bills, like that could be a tough game. Commander showing some fight, right? Like the playoffs were on the board here. Undeniably, the playoffs were absolutely on the board for the Dallas Cowboys. I said that going into this game. I said that to Eagles fans. I was like, yeah, this isn't over. I was like, I agreed with what a lot largely with what Nick was said. Not that it was going to happen. Nick was confident that it was going to happen. I wasn't, confident in any one direction, but I was confident that it completely on the table. I wasn't going to be like, no, that's not going to happen. I'm like, yeah, why not? Absolutely. The Eagles don't look like they had things going in the right direction. And the Cowboys at least looked competent, and the Cowboys were competent here, but like where was the energy? Where was the execution? And they did the trick, because I was going to say like where's the innovation? And they had the trick field goal, which was awesome. But then when you were in the red zone, when it was time to be like, all right, like let's get after it, there was like it just wasn't there for them. It wasn't there for them. And then I wonder if there is that reliance on field goals of like, hey, we can kick field goals anytime we want. So we're going to be able to get like 9, 12, 15 points out of field goals, and we're good. Like most people don't maybe want to kick a lot of field goals because you want to convert, you got to get the touchdowns. But since we have such deep range, like settling for field goals isn't the worst thing for us, because it's either a field goal or a punt, or maybe go for it on fourth down in a low percentage situation. We don't have to do that because we'll be able to kick 2 field goals or 3 field goals in times when, so other people have to convert for it on fourth down or punt. So the math actually ends up like we're on the plus side of it. So like we can afford just to kind of kick field goals there. And, I don't know. It's definitely got to be tricky when you have a kicker that, can just like kick. And I had said before once that this started happening more and more. Like this is going to change football forever once we start having guys who are just casually hitting 60-yarders. It's just like, are we going to go back in time now with the kickoffs, and where now you have to like, you get the ball to 20, because it's like some of these times you're getting the ball to 35, 40, and it's just like all right. Well, now we're just literally one play away from a field goal, and before you know it, it's all going to be it. My dad always talked like when I was a younger 50, 45-yard field goals were tough, And now these guys are kicking 60-yarders like it's nothing. And it's like, yeah, give it another 5 years or so. And it's like, yeah, 60-yarders are going to be the new 50-yarders. So, um, but right now it's still, it's not the most straightforward thing. I mean, listen, missing field goals isn't why you lost, but I do wonder how much it affects maybe the play calling and the approach um, in terms of what you're looking to kind of do offensively in the pass game, run game, etc. Because again, the run game was working for them. The run game was clearly working for them, which is what's then kind of interesting as to why you pulled back a little bit from the run game and not just keep relying on it. Um, I mean, again, I think Dak did well with Brian. Dak. Flores is, looks, any of the disguises, any of the pressure. Dak again, I think played, quite well in this game. Should have had an interception that was just straight up in the hands and dropped. It's just, I think a little lackluster out of them. Like, it's weird to put up again realistically 23 points out, 26 points, and not to do anything egregiously wrong, but you have your legit playoff hopes on the line. You even show that you're willing to do some trick plays, but yet I don't know. It weirdly enough lacked the intensity. I think that's what I'm realizing now that I'm making this video. This game weirdly lacked the intensity. It really did. And I'm watching games all over the place today, and you can feel the intensity everywhere. The Seahawks versus the Colts, that was a playoff game essentially in that atmosphere with that level of intensity. And the Cowboys, you know what it was? And the Minnesota Vikings were already knocked out. It felt like it was two teams that were already knocked out. We're like, yeah, we're having fun. Yeah, we want to make some plays, want to make some throws. Dak having a little fun. We're going to try to kick like 60-yard field goals. We're going to do some trick field goal, little trick plays and whatnot. JJ's going for it on 4th down. He's dancing into the end zone. Like everyone's just a little bit lighter. Everyone's a little bit chill. They're showing Jerry Jones in the booth, like smiling and just being like, yeah, man, I'm a billionaire. It's pretty cool to be me, isn't it? And he's like, yeah, it is, man. Yeah, it is. I don't know. Just had a weird energy. But this wasn't like a tough physical like game where we're just like, no, we're gonna bully you. We're gonna get after it. So missed opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys. And again, great bounce back, great performance. That JJ McCarthy has been able to do now these last couple of weeks. Like a real big turnaround where now people can start to breathe a little bit and start to feel like, all right, we're back on track. We're back on track. So yeah, I mean, I almost skipped this game in terms of the post game, but I was like, I know people would want to hear about it, but because I'm just like, these are two non-off teams right now. And to me, if anything, the story is really JJ McCarthy. He's more important right now than anything else going on in this game in terms of what you got going on. But just as like kind of the little overtime, the little extra sound bites is what I'm realizing is as I'm going through this post game, and thinking out loud, I'm like, actually, in a nutshell, it's pretty disappointing from the Dallas Cowboys. It's not like they just lost, but now that I'm really thinking about it, I'm like, where was the actual intensity? Where was the energy? Where was that? Where was any of the physicality that really was like, we're fighting for our life now. We're fighting for our playoff hopes, because it still was very much on the, I don't know if they got, a little upset that the Eagles rolled the Raiders. Like, I don't think so. There's no way that was truly influenced. But I mean, yeah, disappointing all around celebration for the Vikings. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about JJ McCarthy out-dueling the MVP and the NFC champion representative of Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, who were going to face, I don't know, maybe the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comments, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. It's all about the fun, right? That's what we're here for. We're here to have fun. It's going to be okay. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much.